Sorry about that, Boomer. I boomered it this time, not
it's
you.
It's okay. my computer's been running slow lately too. I think I got it.
So here I am playing the closing credits instead of the opening.
Welcome everyone to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Agent Boomer. This is my co-host, Pacelli. Welcome everybody.
I'll get this figured out, guys. Honestly, I promise.
It's okay. It's Hail Geezers from Big Al. That's great. Can I show that? Look at that. Hoping everyone is doing well and enjoys the stream. Thank you, Geezers, for honoring the memories of Horst Jansen, Captain Kronos, and John Irwin, voice of He-Man. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Of course, I can't read the article because I don't speak.
I sent you the translation.
You did?
I did.
I didn't have it.
It's in the MeWe. I sent you a Word document translating the whole thing.
Okay. Do you mind reading from that maybe when we
come I don't mind. When we get to that,
just
I'll
do that, and that'll be easy. Okay.
You'll give me something to do.
There we go. Chris P., welcome. Always good to see you. Thank you. Have a good evening, gents. Have a great stream. Okay, thank you. And then, of course, Netters of Netters Network is here.
That girl over there.
Network of Netters. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. We're getting used to Evie Mucks. We should have this figured out in 2 years. Okay. So
yeah, exactly.
Right. Connie Cleary, welcome. I don't know. I gotta come up with a final solution for my storage thing on my. I think I gotta move my music to a thumb drive. Do you have a lot of music on your computer?
I do, but I don't think any of it is, like it's the only place that I have it. I've got stuff all over the place. The only reason it's on the computer is just ease of listening to it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Topia. You've been having a good week? Well, I guess you had a stressful week. Never mind. I know why I asked that.
Yeah.
But it's better. But I hope you.
But it is a better. It has been a better week. I was sharing some news with you behind the scenes that has me a little encouraged, about the channel and everything. So
that's good. Pitsinet, good evening, all. Welcome. Let's see. Okay. And let's see. Let me keep scrolling down. All right, I'm here, Geezers. I don't know for how long. Well, we'll cherish how long you are here for. I got to grab my mouse. Talk to the chat for half a second. I'll be right back.
Hail Wade, good to see you. I'm just dropping it in the chat here. Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. And as I always say to everybody, make sure that you are subscribed to all the people that you see in the chat, because we want to put the social in social media. You guys are an incredible community, and supporting each other is Well, as PJ from Orville Nation always says, together we grow. And all the channel members, all the producers, all the ones that really keep the lights on, you will find them tagged in the chat, not the chat, the stream description below. So please make sure you are subscribed to everybody.
Welcome, welcome, Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. Welcome Depensac.
Yep.
Welcome, Lady Mist. Always good to see you with the flowers and everything. And I think that has us caught up.
It absolutely does.
All right.
Say hello to Pit Sniper Husker.
I actually typed it out, but I guess I should say it out loud. Hello, Pit. What is it? Pit
Snipe Husker.
Pit Snipe Husker. Yeah, I haven't seen that one before. But he's saying hello to you and how are you?
I'm
Yes.
doing well, thank you.
There you go.
All right. So why don't we go ahead and get into the presentation?
I would say so.
All right. And we
go ahead and present.
I'll do it. Let me
present
see.
As you present. Second. Okay, guys. Sorry, did not know that we had been lost. Let me get us back in here.
That's why I asked if y'all could still hear you.
Thank you, Natter.
It's like that show, Lost.
Yeah, exactly. How does that look okay?
It looks fine. Let's just go with this. Billy Idol. Anyway, good old days. Billy Idol.
Yeah.
Huh?
So we kind of have to retread what we were just talking about.
Yes, I was basically asking Troy and Eder if they were big Billy Idol fans, and they said,
"Clue says Troy, you look different here." Yeah, well, that would be. I've never been blonde though, but that would be something like what I'd look like with hair.
He's a guy who sang that song that one time.
Yeah, exactly.
Is he the one that did White Wedding?
Yes,
White Wedding.
He's an iconic '80s superstar. Come on.
The one I remember best, of course, is Rebel Yell. That's
Rebel
what
Yell.
I remember that video. Because this is it. Songs. Him standing between those two Tesla coils going,
Well, I thought this was from Dancing with Myself.
Oh, maybe it is. I don't know.
With the zombies or the mutants or whatever. It's like Night of the Comet in this video, right? And they're all just kind of clambering around. But, so this is Billy Idol. And how would you describe Billy Idol? I would say he kind of looks like a punk he's an English punk singer, according to this. Songwriter, musician, and actor.
Punk seems right to me.
And he achieved fame in the 1970s, emerging from the London punk rock scene, and the lead singer of the group Generation X. I thought it'd be a good follow-up.
So that must be where the
term Generation X came from.
See, we should have brought this up on Friday. If you haven't seen our video from last week, check out my channel. For last call, we were talking about growing up Generation X. We didn't get as far into the conversation as we might have. We might have to do a part 2 on that because
we got 6 more things to get through. But
we brought in a guest and I had a lot to drink and we got a little off topic, but boy, you guys seem to enjoy it. We got more foot traffic than I usually do on a Friday, so I'm not complaining.
But he did White Wedding. He did Dancing with Myself. He also did Eyes Without a Face. Remember that one?
Wait, that was him?
Yes.
I had no idea. That's without a doubt then my favorite of his songs.
Yeah.
Just didn't know it was him.
Yeah. I remember actually in the mid 2000s he released an album called The Devil's Playground.
Okay.
It's kind of sinister, huh? The Devil's Playground, right? And he has a Christmas song on that where he's talking about Santa's balls are jingling, and just
well, and Pit Sniper Husker also pointed out that he also did a cover of Moni Moni. So
he did.
Yeah.
There you go, White Wedding. I seem to recall this album got into some controversy back in the day, where we're like the parents groups yelling about it or something, thinking it was this.
And this does go back to what Michael French was talking about last Friday. How we had this whole period in the 80s, 80s maybe early 90s of this puritanical. And he I think rightly so, he generalized that it was mostly conservative right-wing type of puritanicalness. We were kind of pointing out that now the Puritans seem to be on the far left these days, but back then it was, it was the satanic panic and the rock and roll and the warning labels.
That was Tipper Gore, though. She was a big proponent of those, so it wasn't all.
That's true. Tipper Gore was, on the Democrat side for sure.
I remember Frank Zappa before Congress, though. But look at this, man. I mean, he was edgy, though. But I liked in this movie. Where's the movie? The Wedding Singer.
Well, maybe he was edgy for the time.
The Wedding Singer. You remember The Wedding Singer, right?
I do remember The Wedding Singer. Yeah.
And remember, he's like here, and he was on the plane, and I kind of saw Billy out on this movie. He's a working class hero in this movie because he saves the day for Adam Sandler, gets him with Drew Barrymore at the end. Remember?
That's right.
Remember, he was given this insight about the relationship of Drew Barrymore and that jerk, right? He says, "Oh, he just wants to possess her like a thing." Remember, he was giving all this. I had a huge crush on the girl from Cradle of Love video. I wish I had an image of her to show you right now. Oh well.
Well, I'm gonna have to look her up and see who we're talking about.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if Billy Idol became a character of himself or maybe always sort of was one, but here we go. You have this is him. This is a Christmas album he put out years later, huh?
Oh, she looks like an actress.
Her name is Betsy Lynn George.
Yeah.
She played Devin in the 1990 music video for Billy Idol's song Cradle of Love.
Okay. Cool.
She looks like the actress from Dusk Till Dawn. I forget her name.
Apparently he did some Van Halen covers too. Look at that, huh? He did a lot of covers. You know that one, Don't You Forget About Me from the Breakfast Club? That was on Greatest Hits album.
Oh, cool.
CD I had of him. He did his own cover of that. Now, he wasn't the original singer of that, but...
When he did covers, did he do it in his own style?
Yes.
I assume. Okay.
Yes.
That's the only thing I think that makes a cover worth it.
Yeah.
Because then I'll look at that and I'll go, that's significantly different. I mean, like I've heard, what is that song that Aerosmith did, Don't Want to Miss a Thing? Well, that's a cover of a country song. Both songs are great, but a very different style,
Wasn't Idol in a motorcycle accident back in the day? I think I heard something about that. Actually, let me get his bio up. Maybe there's something on it in here. Whiplash Smile. Idol released Whiplash Smile in 1986, which sold well. In 1990, February 6th, Hollywood, Idol was involved in a serious motorcycle accident that nearly cost him a leg. He was hit by a car when he ran a stop sign while riding home from the studio one night, requiring a steel rod to be placed in his leg. While he was in the hospital, he vowed to stop wearing clothing featuring the Confederate flag after a black employee attending to him explained his feelings on it. Well, it's interesting.
Fair.
But yeah, That was how people used to have conversations back in the day.
Yeah,
Instead of
they
trying to
actually
cancel
say,
each other.
"Hey, that kind of bothers me." Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
maybe
you
I
know
won't
what?
do that.
He was probably doing it out of a punk move, but yeah, then he figured, okay. But Leia Plus Size, good evening. But the reason I bring up Billy Idol, we have news later tonight. Are you a bigger fan of Joan Jett?
I do like Joan
I
Jett. I
should
don't know
have
if I'm
done her instead.
No. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's Joan Jett's great too.
Let's just say there was big a news announcement for both Joan Jett and Billy Idol, which I'm going to be bringing up. I don't know. I figure with the way the world is today, maybe I need to go back to the past, and I'm going to try to attend a certain concert going on this year if I can help it. I think it's time Boomer got out of the house and saw some live music, and
Yeah,
because frankly Hollywood's depressing me lately, I need something else to look forward to. So maybe that's it. But
I'm with
Billy
you.
Idol, everybody. I don't know. I like the songs. Like I said, like the Devil's Playground. That was one of the CDs that got destroyed in the flood. I got to buy a new one though. But
Ouch.
maybe there's a box set of his stuff out by now, huh? You think?
Probably.
I like to own the physical media, so I think I need to pick up a Billy Idol thing. I do have I don't know if I have any Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, but I do have the Runaways. I have a Runaways. That's where she's from, right?
I think originally, yeah.
Yeah, the Runaways. Yeah. Remember Idol doing a great performance on the Grammys, performing "Cradle of Love." Okay. But I don't know. I just think it's cool that he's still alive and kicking, and maybe we'll be seeing more of him this year. I am seeing Billy Joe and Sting next weekend. Oh, really?
Nice.
That would have been an interesting concert to go to. But yeah. I have a Police box set. I have some of Sting's other albums, and
So, one other little bit of trivia: a lot of people had made jokes about the character of Spike from Buffy.
Yeah.
And there's even a line within the show where someone says, "Hey, Spike, Billy Idol wants his hair back." Well, it turns out that in the lore of the show, it seems that Billy Idol apparently got that style from Spike.
Gotcha.
Remember, Spike being an immortal vampire, so.
Of course. So he had it longer. He was the trendsetter, Spike was, right?
Exactly.
94, I saw Joan Jett on the flight deck of the USS Intrepid during Fleet Week. Clint Black was a last-minute cancellation. Oh, okay. That's cool.
Huh.
She was there. But yeah, Roxanne. Yeah, that's from Sting and the Police. Yep. I have that. I have the big. That was the first big box set of a band I got. Was the very best of Sting and the Police. That came in one of those long, blue case. It was like a long case with you open up. There's a booklet inside, and there were 4 CDs.
Yep.
All right, but Billy Idol for good old days, and like I said, check out The Wedding Singer because he saves the day. Did you like The Wedding Singer?
I did.
Yes. I don't know. I need to pick up Billy Idol's Christmas album though for next Christmas. That has to happen.
The Wedding Singer doesn't stand out in my memory as well as 50 First Dates, but still.
It's another Drew Barrymore, Adam Sandler, romantic team up. But yeah, I like 50 First Dates too. But let me just find my notes, and they're right here for a change. It's February 2nd. February, the month of Valentine's Day.
That is true.
All right, but let's move on. Unfortunately, we have some sad news tonight.
Well, before we get to the sad news, I'd like to mention a little happy, nice news. Thank you so much to Ruby Hoove, who is a regular contributor to the channel, always gifting memberships because Ruby Hoove is just so wonderful that way. And therefore, let's welcome Mr. J himself, the Joker's voice, who was gifted that membership. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And
welcome.
Hail to Tim Hayes as well. Welcome to the chat tonight.
Joker voice, how you doing? He does an excellent imitation of the Joker.
He absolutely does.
That's the
At
name.
this point, he is the Joker's voice.
I guess so.
There's
yes.
no doubt about it.
More so than Mark Hamill. Anyway.
He's become the Joker in real life, so that's hardly acting anymore.
John Irwin dies. Voice actor behind He-Man and Morris the Cat was 88. I suppose I could have done a good old days for He-Man, but I never really watched the show back in the day.
Yeah, I watched every single episode, but I wasn't as big a fan as, for example, Mexican Iron Man.
Well,
Mikey, absolutely.
that's the thing. We all have the thing we were into and the thing we weren't as into, but we all kind of try to defend each other's things when they get attacked by the cultural vandals out there today.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to say who that cultural vandal is, Kevin Smith, but
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But do you remember Morris the Cat? That's going back a ways.
Morris the Cat, the snobby Reggie of the Archie cartoons, and many other Saturday morning favorites of the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know he was Reggie also, yeah.
Yeah. I remember I watched the 80s Archie cartoon. I remember that. But his death was announced today by his PR firm, Celebworks. Melanie Britt, who voiced the character She-Ra, the superheroine sister of superhero He-Man in Filmation's Masters of the Universe world, said in a statement, "For 40 years, John Irwin was not only my brother on screen, he was my friend. To have my brother pass on is a tremendous sorrow, even though I know life is not infinite," Britt wrote on Facebook. "The tears I have are because John was such a special, quiet man, and we shared a very special relationship in those roles as twin brother and sister." He-Man said, "I have the power you did, and I still do." Alan Oppenheimer, who voiced the villainous Skeletor in He-Man and She-Ra world, said, "Working with John Irwin was a ballad of irreverence, professionalism, and surprise of how many life stories he had. He was a series actor, writer, performer of commercials, musician, painter, and an all-around lovely gentleman, an incredible addition to my life. An intense private man, Irwin provided no photographs of himself, even to his PR firm. He's said to have died around December 20th. His voice, however, could be widely recognized by countless children of classic Saturday morning cartoons era as the voice of the wealthy Reggie Mantle on The Archie Show, 1968, and numerous cartoon spin-offs of the 60s and 70s. The Archie Comedy Show, Archie Funhouse, Sabrina Teenage Witch, Archie's Bang Shang Lollapalooza Show, among others. What was that last one?
I don't know.
Irwin perfected the tone of comic youthful arrogance and snobbery. Although he'd voice other characters in the era, including various Flintstones and Groovy Ghoulies cartoons, he'd become ubiquitous in the 1980s for the stentorian, echo-laden voice of He-Man, a master of the universe, superhero with a massive sword, golden Dutch boy style haircut.
Yeah, he did. That's true.
And bulging muscles. He also voiced the character's Clark Kent-esque alter ego, Prince Adam. Born on December 5th, 1936 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Irwin achieved iconic status in the advertising world for his voicing of the sardonic Tabby Spokes cat for 9 Lives cat food. Beginning in 1968, the Irwin voice feline created the Leo Burnett advertising agencies, could be seen on countless commercials as an extremely finicky critter who ultimately gave in to the appropriate deliciousness of the chicken or seafood flavored treat. And
I'll tell you that one. I see. I'm just recently finding out that I never would have guessed that the voice of Morris was He-Man, but that character of Morris, that whole it was kind of this aristocratic. I'm just above all.
I remember,
yeah. I love it.
But that's how I always kind of see some cats as being. They have that
they definitely
kind of
played
upturned
into that.
nose.
And I think there's a whole generation that have ascribed that to cats specifically because of those Morris, commercials.
Yeah, but there's the link if you want to check it out, though. But rest in peace. Watch He-Man and She-Ra. She was my favorite. Okay, like I said, I know he was a lot of favorites for a lot of people. It's sad, but it looks like he lived a long life at least, right?
I mean, it's true. It's just like I forgot who the actress was. You said the voice of She-Ra. We're not immortal, and we're not guaranteed another day. But it still sucks when it finally comes.
But She-Ra was just a copy paste of He-Man. Weird tension.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like Husker and Hayes are having a little bit of a back and forth there. I can't take a side on that because I kind of see both sides.
I'll stay out of it. But anyway, I don't know. I know there was that evil Lynn character too. But anyway, we'll move on. And let me go ahead and post this. If you would like to go ahead and read this, another actor has died.
I absolutely would,
Yes,
because when this first hit, it was mostly it was exclusively German outlets talking about it. He was much bigger in Germany than the United States, and they weren't referencing a lot of the work he'd done here in the West, farther west. Let me get into it.
Sure.
Actor Horst Janssen dies. He was born in 35. Was that making him 80? What was 89? No. 90.
Okay.
Is that right? 90 years old.
Sounds right. Yeah.
So he was the Bastion, drove under white sails, was a friend of Tiffany and Samson, and was on stage at the Bad Hirschfeld Festival. Horst Janssen was considered one of the most famous German actors. The native Wiesbadener died at the age of 89. See, if I'd have just read the article, I wouldn't have had to do the maths. The actor Horst Janssen, known for I'm not going to try to say it in German, but Sesame Street, the German version of Sesame Street, and is a Hesch, especially from the Bad Hirschfelder Festspiel, is dead. His wife confirmed this on Tuesday before the Bild newspaper had reported on it. Born in Wiesbaden, he was 89 years old. Janssen worked until old age, most recently in the Bad Hirschfelder Festival, and was also seen on the red carpet again and again. He became known to a wide audience in the 1970s through TV series such as Salto Morte and Der Bachstein. In the 1980s, as a friend of Tiffany and Samson, he became the idol of an entire generation of children on Sesame Street. This is all the proper names are going to be rough.
Yes.
Forstausch, Falknau, Immenhof, Einfall für Schwein, Tatort, they're closely related languages, or Rosamunde Pilsner, Romances, hardly a TV series in which Janssen was not seen. In 2005-2006, the passionate hobby sailor for the TV series Under White Sails was in front of the camera as a captain. Already last year, the actor had a struggle with health problems. In the summer of 2024, it became known that he had come to the hospital after a fall from the stairs. Janssen had previously canceled his participation in the Bad Hirschfelder Festival because of a disease. There he should have acted there. Yeah, rough on the translation, at the premiere of the piece Like in the Sky. Janssen lived with his second wife Hela, with whom he had been married for more than 40 years. In Grunwald, near Munich, he gave up, I guess he passed away, in Mainz at Wiesbaden. Now, what this does not mention, and I was kind of hoping we would get from a British or American outlet, was I'm getting to that, Nate. But Deleted Scenes is getting there for us. He was Captain Kronos from the Hammer Horrors, Captain Kronos, the Vampire Hunter. We did a watch party of that last year over on Big Al's channel. With
the lovely Carolyn Monroe, it was in that.
Yes, she very much was.
Who was put in the shackles for dancing on a Sunday, remember? She said that.
Yes, exactly. So I was actually a little surprised to know that he was so well known for Sesame Street in Germany. I would not have guessed that. But yeah. But anyway.
You a fan of Captain Kronos?
I had not seen it until very recently. I think I saw it before we did the watch party with Big Al.
I believe that it's part of that Karnstein series.
Yes, it exactly was. It was
Yes.
one of the 3, I believe.
One of the 4, because
4.
Also,
yes, it is the 4th. Yes.
There's Lust for a Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Watch at your own risk.
There's no risk there. Definitely watch it if you appreciate, femaleness.
There you go. But but then there's also the Vampire Lovers,
right?
And my favorite, which is Twins of Evil. So that's the Karnstein vampires who can walk around in daylight, because they're actually inspired from Charlene Le Fanu's Carmilla. So they're not really related to the Dracula movies, but I think they're pseudo-related to each other.
Well, keep in mind that the original Dracula by Stoker could also walk around in daylight. So
yes, well, that's true. I did want to mention that it's interesting, the vampires in that, how they weren't even so much drinking blood, they were draining people of their youth, right?
Yes.
That's how they were staying alive.
Which again kind of speaks to the whole Carmilla thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, and I keep thinking they should do a revival of Captain Kronos,
That would be nice. Yeah.
He's the man that vampires fear. There's all this speculation about him too in that movie. They think that he plays a guy that might have been a vampire once and was turned back, but they never fleshed that out.
That would have been a cool
good
storyline to follow up on.
Like maybe he was somehow brought back from the brink of that or something. Yeah, but he's very good at killing vampires. And they were coming. They are actually were toying with the idea of doing a television series, and he would like time travel like Doctor Who and go to different periods and fight vampires in different time periods.
I think instead of doing it that way, just have him be an immortal. Kind of because of a previous brush with vampirism, and just do different period pieces, maybe out of order.
Well, now it's starting to remind me of Vampire Hunter D, which no doubt was inspired by this. That was a Japanese book series,
right?
And the interesting thing about that was that takes place in a almost post. No, I want to say post-apocalyptic future, because there's some civilization that rose up again afterwards. But basically, I think all the vampires come out of hiding, and human civilization collapses. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And it's up to Vampire Hunter D, who is half vampire himself, to save people. So it's like this weird medieval style society in the future, because it's like the vampires are like feudal lords, but there's still leftover technology. Like one guy had like a horse that was part cyborg. Do you understand? So there's still, and like laser guns. So there's still some stuff left over from before the fall. But yeah, it was interesting. But and there are werewolves and other horrible things in this future too. But yeah. But unconscious next few. Oh, okay. Well, I hope you feel better, Nate knows. But rest in peace, Horst Jansen. And I'm sure you made a lot of children happy, and Carolyn Monroe made a lot of teenage boys happy. Okay, moving on.
That's true. That's true. Very true.
I'm just thinking Golden Voyage of Sinbad. I meant to put that article this week. We all say for next week. Apparently, Carolyn Monroe's look in Golden Voyage of Sinbad has the internet going nuts right now. Like, I guess the Zoomers discovered Carolyn Monroe and they're going nuts for her. But
well, anyway. Good, they should.
So next up is Quentin Tarantino, who is still with us.
Yes.
I don't know if he's with the film industry anymore, but
well, and this was one of the guys we were talking about last week on Live from Sparkwood and 21, when we were talking about directing in the wake of David Lynch. Start looking to people like Quentin Tarantino and other independents that are bucking the Hollywood system, which is exactly what this article is about today.
Yeah. Quentin Tarantino really seems fed up with the movie industry. In a surprise interview at the Sundance Film Festival on Monday, Tarantino decided to take aim at Hollywood and more particularly streaming services for contributing to the death of the movie-going experience. What the F is a movie now? Something that plays in theaters for a token release for 4 effing weeks, and by the second week you can watch it on television. I didn't get into all of this for diminishing returns, Tarantino said.
Right.
Think about it, that cuts a lot of money out in this new model they have. The Pulp Fiction
It does.
filmmakers said that theatrical releases have gotten drastically worse since his last film, 2019's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's primarily taking aim at studios, show pony exercise, and they're not giving movies proper theatrical bows by instead dumping the titles on streaming after just a few weeks in theaters. This was one of your complaints with the winners and losers thing last year. Remember that?
Yes.
You were saying that, what's the point going to the movie? It's on streaming like a few weeks later. Well, what the F is a movie now? This is a quote. What something plays in theaters for a token release for 4 effing weeks. All right. And by second week, you can watch it on television. I didn't get into all this for diminishing returns. I mean, it was bad enough in 97. It was bad enough in 2019. And that was the last effing year of movies. Yikes.
Yeah.
If you read this website, then you might already know that I wholeheartedly agree with Tarantino on this one. This is from the writer. It's infuriating to watch studios dump their successful films on streaming after just a few weeks of theatrical play. The most recent blatant example was Wicked, in which in late December was still racking up some big money at the domestic box office, but Universal decided that a month was more than enough to throw it online. Welcome to the new normal, where studios have found a way to make considerable profit out of rushing new titles to digital. The whole thing completely devalues the worth of cinema. I remember early on when we first started doing this stream, and we were talking Jason Killar of Warner Media at the time, who is no longer with them because he got shit canned, if you pardon the expression. Because he wanted the whole day and date thing, and that got Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve very angry. Remember Dune came out day and date on HBO Max and in theaters,
and everybody that cared about that wanted to see it do well was pissed.
And I think it still did pretty well, but I think it would have done a lot better if they hadn't done that day and day nonsense. I think the last Warner Brothers did it first with Wonder Woman 84, and I wanted to know how that was going to do at the box office, and I'll never know now because they did a day and date nonsense with that. How is it sold on home video? That's what I wonder.
Well, I know it. Yeah, all those Snyder era films did come out on home video. I have no idea what the sales numbers are like. I'm sure someone could look that up. But the fact is, and we've said this ever since, well, for the past 5 years, we've been saying they are literally leaving millions of dollars on the table by doing it this way. They're missing out on all the monies that they would get from the revenue of a prolonged cinema run. They're losing out on all of the for some of these studios, especially like Disney, completely losing out on the revenue they would get from physical media because they think that if they can, you have to come to our streaming service to see it. Well, people don't care that much to come to your streaming service because this stuff wasn't good enough. If I didn't go to the theater to see it, and the only way I can see it is to subscribe to your channel, I have no impetus to do that. It's not like you have some beautiful, wonderful classic that I love so much that I can't see any other way.
Yeah. I mean, do you think he's out of line? Geek Flag said that.
He's just using a meme phrase there. I don't think he's really that hard on him being out of line.
I don't know if he's absolutely right, but I know that we're in dangerous waters right now, and Hollywood better figure out what it wants to do, because I'm sorry, direct to streaming is direct to video, and made for video movies were never as impressive as stuff you could walk into a theater and see on the big screen. Even B pictures that I watched, like I watched one recently from the 80s, which was, I don't remember what the title of it was. It's about a guy that gets revenge with a monster truck. And Ned Beatty's this evil. Ned Beatty plays like an evil hillbilly in it, and he was Otis, Superman. He's
cool.
One of the villains, and I'm like, no, it's monster truck revenge movie. Come on, he got me sold. And even that as more prestige than some of these movies that get dumped to streaming right now. And I I don't get it.
Well, I mean, and I'm sure all of that is of course supported by the whole killdozer of reality, you know.
Tim Hayes says direct to streaming is cable 2.0. But let me explain how the old model worked. And this is how the model worked when Troy and I were growing up. We talked
Yeah.
about this on cable. It would be theatrical release in the summer, VHS release in the fall, not always price to own, usually not. You'd have to go to the store and rent it. About a year later, it would be on cable, like a year after its
Yep.
release in theaters. Like
So
last year's
here's
big
how the
movies,
revenue stream
last
goes,
summer's big
right?
movies are cable's current big
You have,
movies, yes.
like he said, you have a movie come out in the theater, and they milk it for all it's worth, right? Then it gets released on video, and you have to go to Blockbuster to get it because it was 80, 90, 100, sometimes more dollars. Those were the videos being bought up by Blockbuster and whatnot. And then if you wanted to buy it, you'd buy the secondhand video when they were, you know, because they bought like 25 copies of it. So, you know, at almost $100 each. And then they'd get all their rental dollars out of it. And then they'd sell it to you secondhand. That's how you got your videos back then. Then after it had its run at the video store, then it would come out on cable, and they received a licensing fee from the cable company. They didn't own those cable companies mostly. Mostly the theaters or the studios didn't usually own the cable companies. The cable companies were separate. That kind of changed going forward. And then after it had its run on cable, and when I say in this case, I'm talking about premium cable, HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, right? Then after it had its run there, it might move over to the cable that was the free, in quotes, free cable, the ones that you got commercials on, TBS and all of that kind of stuff. And then it would get licensed to network television.
Oh.
So there was a revenue stream every single step of the way. And it wasn't until probably about the time it was coming out on TV that you would get a mass market release on VHS and eventually DVD. Yeah, that all of those revenue streams were open to the entertainment industry. Now it's let's get a couple bucks from the cinemas and then get right onto stream where we get zero.
I think they became obsessed with they're worried about not being top dog in streaming, so they dumped everything into streaming. But not everyone can be top dog in streaming.
Well, here's my question. What's the value, the dollar value of being the top dog in streaming? There is none. I don't have a problem with every studio having their own streaming service, but get all your money from all your other revenues first. And then after it's done the circuit and you've put out the DVDs and you've put out the special editions and you've put out the license fees to other channels and cable and network television, then you retire it to your streaming service as content. Okay? Consider it like an archives.
Yeah.
But they are, I swear they are shooting themselves in the foot.
Unless you're Paramount
unless
you're Paramount and you give the Star Trek movies away to somebody else. I'm sorry.
Whatever. Well, they're worthless now. Nobody cares anymore.
Well, I guess
they found ways to kill it.
Oh, we're gonna get to Star Trek in a little bit, but I don't know.
Corporate FOMO, in other words. Yes. Welcome, Sashi. Thank you so much.
Let's move on. What's the next one? Oh, this might be interesting.
This one took me a little bit by surprise.
It's going to get a theatrical release.
I had on my bingo card.
I am going to say this too. I think going to the movies has become prohibitively expensive lately. Deleted scenes would be more of an expert on that than me. But I remember when I went to see a movie recently, and granted we did get some of the candy and snacks, but man, that the cost for two people really went up.
Yes, it is.
Just to see a movie in the theater. And I remember we used to have student discounts. Used to be able to get in there for
and this is where it's gotten so dangerous because if you're going to be spending that much money, it needs to feel like an event. And when it's take it or leave it, you're more likely to leave it because of the high price and you're going to be able to watch it in a couple weeks in the privacy of your own home.
I'm also getting tired of this old let's select a seat thing prior. I can't stand that.
There's no value to that anymore. I mean, there was when the theaters were filling up.
Yeah,
but if the theaters aren't filling up, why even bother?
But anyway, let's talk about this movie. That'll probably be, maybe it'll be, is this coming out in theaters or is it going to be direct to streaming? But Mira Sorvino, Lisa Kudrow in final talks for Romy and Michelle's high school reunion sequel. The reunion is on. A sequel to Romy and Michelle's high school reunion is moving ahead at the 20th Century Studios with Mira Sorvino and Lisa Kudrow in negotiations to reprise their starring roles. The pair will also serve as executive producers. Tim Federle, who wrote and directed the Disney Plus original movie Better Nate Than Never, who created High School Musical the series, will direct the feature, which is eyeing a June start date. Sources say the studio is looking to possibly shoot in Los Angeles, but nothing has been said. Robin Schiff, who wrote the original and is known for show-running the Netflix hit Emily in Paris, returned to pen the sequel. Lawrence Mark, the veteran producer who produced the original, is also back in the same role. Barry Kemp, the creator of 1980s series Newhart, is also producing. The original release in 1997 was made by Disney's now dormant Touchstone Pictures banner. Thus, the migration to the studio's 20th century arm isn't that far of a journey. The movie featured Sorvino and Kudrow, a pair of unaccomplished 29-year-olds who decided to fabricate successful careers in order to impress their former classmates at their 10th anniversary high school reunion. Do you remember what one of those successful careers was?
No.
I made Post-its. I'm the inventor of Post-its. Remember that?
Oh, right.
The fashion, the comedy, and the music contributed to the movie becoming a cult hit and being finally remembered by members of a certain generation. Sorvino, who won an Oscar for her performance in Mighty Aphrodite just 2 years before Romy and Michelle, recently starred with Courtney Cox and Greg Kinnear in Star's supernatural series Shining Vale. She also appeared in Ryan Murphy's recent miniseries Impeachment, American Crime Story, and Hollywood. She is rep by IAG and Circle Management Plus Production. Kudrow, who made the original film as one of her summer hiatus projects from Friends, recently appeared on the Time Bandits TV series and starred with Ray Romano in the Netflix series No Good Deed. Kudrow is rep by CAA. Federle, who has authored the book on which Better Nate is based, is rep by CAA. Okay, and now people rep by other things. You big fan of Romy and Michelle?
I remember seeing it. I don't remember much about it.
Do I remember it more than you do? I remember that there was this
Possibly.
nerdy guy that I think was interested in the. Who was Lisa Kudrow? Was she Michelle? But she didn't want anything to do with him. But then she had this image because I think she heard he became like one of these tech startup billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
And and like he shows up again. He says, "Look, I have this new face," and it's like the actor was making all this weird makeup stone face on his thing to make him look handsome, but it looked weird, like he had like a.
Yeah.
But and then, of course she meets the actual him at the reunion, so it was interesting. But I don't know. I thought it was a fun time. It's a nice little comedy. Wasn't used to what's her name doing comedy though? That was Mira Sorvino.
Mira Sorvino, yeah.
I remember her in Summer of Sam.
I do think that I think we're about ripe for something like this. If there was a film that especially this that they're going to a class reunion, right? So you're already dealing with a storyline of a little bit of we've gotten older, looking back at the past. It does seem like they're just ripe to do that kind of thing again. They've jumped. Now we're jumping another 20 some years into the future.
Probably, or 25 years maybe. She
years.
was good in Replacement Killers.
Killers, yeah.
I remember Replacement Killers. That was a good movie. That had, I remember I was in a screenwriting class and the professor kept saying, "Oh yeah, that movie, it had Chu Young Fat in it," which, But at that point, it was odd to see an Asian leading man in an American movie, and he, of course, he was famous over in Hong Kong. He was in The Killer, And I remember Mina Servino made a point that working with Child Young Fat was like working with Cary Grant. She considered him on that level. So I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
They invented Post-its. Oh, they both
Yes,
invented them.
exactly.
Okay. Yes. All right. But that was a good cover. Do you remember when Al Bundy went to his high school reunion?
I don't.
And Peggy said, remember, tell everybody you're a garbage man, not a shoe salesman. And then finally, when he was out there, he says, "I'm a garbage salesman." But nobody paid it. Oh, that's great, Al. And they just pat because nobody pays attention to what you do for a living, at least in Middle Age. It's like, remember when you could be a shoe salesman and own a big 2-story house? Remember that? Remember those days? Anyway,
exactly right.
Here we go. On to 007. Are we excited for 007?
No, especially not after I read the title for this one. No.
I'm excited. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this Thunderball book. I'm wondering if the criticisms you mentioned are holding true. We'll see. Was this when it was getting a little too commercial? I don't know. They said that even Fleming came up with Spectre because he was worried always using the Soviets as the main heavies would get old after a while. It wouldn't age well.
Nope, everything comes around again. Now would be a perfect time to do it again.
Yes. Well, I made a joke. It's like, well, he's a relic from the Cold War. But I'm like, is the Cold War back on? I don't know.
Kinda.
The next James Bond will reportedly be a return to camp and quips, easier to sell via memes.
Yeah, I'll hold it till after you read the article.
I would argue that the Daniel Craig era got too serious. Even some of the more serious Brosnan movies, like when they get serious in this, there'd be comedic parts in them. Like he'd always meet up with Q Branch, and there'd be Q would be. There's a scene where Q's demonstrating all the weapons, and then Bond picks up a big submarine sandwich, and he says, "What does this do? Hands off that!" And he says, "What does it explode?" No, it's my lunch. Okay. While the next James Bond has yet to be revealed, new details have emerged about the tone of the new era of the spy movie franchise, hinting towards a lighter, more humorous tone that could draw in younger audiences. For over 60 years, the franchise based on Ian Fleming's series of novels has adapted 007's adventures to the big screen. Daniel Craig was the most recent actor to play James Bond, beginning with Casino Royale in 2006 and 3 following movies until making his last stand in 2021's No Time to Die. As reported by The Times, Amazon is set to reinvent the James Bond franchise's tone with the next installment. According to industry speculation, the next installment will have a lighter, more campy tone, closer to the franchise's earlier tales of larger-than-life villains and schemes. So it's going to be Kingsman then. Okay, no, sorry. I'll keep quiet. Okay. This return to a lighter tone hopes to attract younger viewers, relying on online social media fandom and meme culture to play a big part in reaching out to new audiences. First, everybody, I talked to agents, actors, analysts, believes we are due for return to a Bond of quips and camp, a shift away from the Shakespearean heft of Craig. Really? More traditional, yet easier to sell via memes to Amazon's younger demographic.
This is my problem. I do feel that Hollywood tends to learn the wrong lessons. They see what happens and they completely misattribute people's reactions. And it's like, no, you're getting the wrong message from this.
He's not wrong. Craig only looked interested in Casino Royale, Skyfall, and one scene in No Time to Die. The rest of the time was crap. Yeah, we'll get to that. Eventually, we're going to do part 2 of our Michael French retrospective on Bond. And I know you were on with me too. We talked about No Time to Die, Topia, and it was just, it was Jackie Chan. It's interesting that Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan were in a movie together called The Foreigner, and it was weird seeing these 2 big action stars of the 90s now kind of older men now, and it kind of please don't go back to Roger Moore. I kind of like the Roger Moore movies. I know why people hate them, but I think the first 5 Roger Moores are solid. Yes, even Moonraker. You can yell at me. we'll talk about it later. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like this idea of, are they trying to capture an imaginary audience again with meme culture? I don't get it. Doesn't meme culture have to happen naturally? It's not something you can invent.
That's also, yeah, exactly, a very misunderstanding of no.
I don't mind them trying to do a Bond that's lighter in tone, considering how I felt like I was watching a character get tortured and murdered in each movie of the Daniel Craig era. I'm sorry. I made a comment, I'll bring this up on the thing, but I always felt like I was going to a funeral for the character in those Daniel
And
Craig
as it
movies.
turns out,
Well,
that's how they ended his
it's
run.
weird. It's weird. In the beginning of Skyfall, he gets shot and then sent, and then there are all these graves appearing during the title sequence, and I'm like, wow. But then I thought we were past that hump in the Craig era. Okay, after Skyfall, things can finally get back to normal. Get back to the Bond I know, and that didn't happen. But I thought after Skyfall, we were past this hump. I thought it was like we're doing an origin story for the character again, and we're going to kind of get him over this, I guess, growing pains. And then it just didn't happen, though, because I still trusted movie makers back then to do the right thing. I didn't need a Bond movie character to my 8-year-old me when I saw Living Daylights. Here's what I would argue, though. I would argue that when the Brosnan Bond era came out, it was definitely catered to my age group. I felt, or at least I felt like it was. I felt like the Brosnan era was my Bond. I felt it was something that guys my age were into. You played the Bond video game. That might be the way to reach out. Maybe get back into other types of media for Bond, like how the video games were so popular. And the fact is, you go with your buddies, on a Friday night and go catch the new Bond movie, and that's what I did a few times back in the day, and it was nice, back when movies were not horribly expensive like they are now. And then you would buy the DVD later, or maybe originally the VHS tape, if we remember those.
Yeah.
I had a whole. In fact, it was watching the Pierce Brosnan GoldenEye movie which made me go back and watch the older Bond movies. So he was my gateway. If I hadn't had Pierce Brosnan, I don't know if I ever would have gotten into James Bond. So I was like, okay, I like GoldenEye. So then I went back. I watched the Connerys. I remember my sister got me a VHS box set of the Connery Bond movies for Christmas one year, and I watched all those. And eventually the DVDs of all of them came out in box sets too, and I got picked those up, and I got caught up. But I don't know.
And now you're reading the books.
I have to, because there's nothing left. The books are it. I don't know what I'm going to do after the Bond books. I'll have to find another series to read. I'm thinking about Jack Reacher, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go there yet. We'll see. But yeah, and that's it. But yeah, do you think this is a good idea, though? Do you think they know what they're doing?
My gut instinct is no. No, they don't understand the character. They don't understand the audience. And I think there were bigger problems too. I think this whole, there was a comment that Leia Plus Size made earlier. Let's see if I can find it here. It was where are you, Leia Plus Size?
I don't know. I know
she had said something about wanting James Bond to go back to what he was supposed to be and what we liked, and that was
I don't know. Let me see if I can find it.
Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
James Bond needs to be what we always loved about him: sexy, strong, and getting all the hot women. Oh, Leia Plus Size, are you saying that you don't think that James Bond was misogynistic and not appropriate for a post Me Too era?
There was a scene in No Time to Die where we run into Ana de Armas, right? I guess she's playing like a CIA operative agent right out in the field, and she runs into James Bond, and she goes up to Daniel Craig and says, okay, if you could take your clothes off. And he says, oh, shouldn't I buy you dinner first? That's what he says. And she's, oh, wait, that's not what I meant, because I guess he has to get into some kind of, she has to input something in his, I don't know, like a wire or something on him or something. But, I like in the old days, it would have been more flirtatious, but now it's like, no, she wouldn't sleep with a man that old. Or it's like it was just annoying. There were big problems with the Craig era, but we'll get into that another day. I blame a writer's strike and also the failure of MGM to sell to anybody. That kept Bond on hiatus for a while. Bond
Yeah.
is to be the hottest man in the room. What's wrong with that? I don't think there's. I think they especially with No Time to Die, they got very angry. They said stop calling them Bond girls, call them Bond women. I hope I didn't say Bond women a minute ago. They didn't stick that in my head, the new speak. But they were always making a big deal. Well, you should be going out with women appropriate to his age. That was another thing, which I don't know. And of course,
and the same people that say that kind of stuff are complete hypocrites. Because it's fine when I do it, or if a woman chooses to go with an older man, younger man, whatever, that's liberation. But it's creepy when the guy does it. Well, wait a minute. How does that work if the girl chooses that guy? He's not allowed. He's supposed to say no, hands off.
It's ridiculous.
2 words. You have.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, deleted scenes. I'll look for Robert. I've heard good things about Robert Parker, so yeah, maybe I'll look into him next. I always call them Bond ladies. That's a good that should have been the better term. And they just should have started saying them Bond ladies, not saying they're not Bond girls. They're just start calling them Bond ladies. It would have caught on, and no one would have had an issue with that because he's the gentleman, right? So it would have made sense to say should want Bond. All men should want to be Bond. Yes, I know. There's humor in the books too, though.
It's not. These are not difficult concepts, and yet Hollywood seems completely incapable of learning them. They think it needs more quips and camp and memes. Okay, guys. See how it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him.
What are we doing? Oh, gaming talk. This is good news, though, right? This was something you were complaining about. After spending the last year battling with players over the attempt to force them to engage with their proprietary digital ecosystem, Sony has announced that they will no longer require players to log into an extraneous PlayStation Network account in order to enjoy PC ports of the developer's first-party single-player titles. See, Troy, now you can buy Spider-Man and not have to log into PSN Network off your Steam account. How does that sound?
It'll be interesting to see if EA Games follows that, but I don't think EA can be taught.
As previously reported, Sony's unpopular PSN account requirement was first seen in early 2024 when the wildly popular Helldivers 2, which added the extra layer of digital rights management months after the game had released. Though no such account is free to make, this decision was met with massive backlash from players who not only criticized the added inconvenience of managing 2 different services, those being PSN and the respective platform which they purchased the game, such as the Epic Game Store and Steam, just to play the game, but also Sony's blatant attempt to try and entice them to spend money on their digital storefront. Yeah, it's kind of like when I got Diablo 2 on the Switch, and it required me to sign into the Blizzard account every time just to play a game that I paid for.
Yep.
And while many came to begrudgingly accept the requirements as an understandable annoyance for accessing the game's online multiplayer servers, their frustrations only served to grow when Sony later confirmed that despite them being exclusively single-player experiences, with absolutely zero multiplayer components, players would also need to log into PSN to access the then upcoming PC versions of God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, as well as still to release ports of Marvel Spider-Man 2 and The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. At this point, players were understandably convinced that regardless of their protests and criticism, Sony would be sticking to their PSN-related guns for the foreseeable future. However, in the moment of listening to customer feedback that seemed ever more rare in the era, the PlayStation parent companies actually reversed course and dropped the dual login requirement for the aforementioned quartet of single-player games. You know what? I will say at least they did listen and have adjusted accordingly.
Yeah.
Sony has done this in the past, like when they were going to be removing the digital storefronts for their PSP. There was an outcry, and people, they put it back up. So, in a post revealing the change published on the official PlayStation blog in January 20, Sony Studio Business Group, SCV head of publishing Azad Kizabesh informed players that rather than being a mandatory cost of entry, the decision to log into a PSN account would now be left entirely to the individual, who, with those who chose to do it being granted such in-game bonuses as early as content unlocks and exclusive outfits. Doesn't that make more sense? Give them something extra for logging into the other account? Do you like that? No? Okay.
I agree.
Okay. These are all games I have no interest in playing, by the way.
I think he's already gone, but good night, Nate. Thanks for hanging out with us.
I don't want to play Spider-Man 2. I don't want to play God of War Ragnarok. I don't want to play Last of Us Part 2. No, not with Abby. Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet, no. And Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. I think I own that because
I
somebody gave
will
it to me
make
for
one
free.
concession.
Mhm.
If there is some sort of DLC, I can understand, yeah, you kind of have to log in order to download that.
To
Sure.
buy it, yeah.
Once I've downloaded it,
It's yours, yes.
let me play it. Even if my internet goes out, I should still be able to play it, damn it.
Yes.
I can understand if I can't play Star Trek Online because, well, it's kind of in the title. I got to be online because it's interacting with other people and, so on and so forth. The servers are out there, not here. But these single player games where it's all resonant on your hard drive, there is zero reason. You know what it is. They want to keep their hand in your pocket and they want to use it as a copy guard.
Interesting. Okay. And that's not good because you should own the things you pay for.
Oh, you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Because then all of this is a glorified rental and you're paying $70 for it.
That's what I've been saying all along.
All right, moving on to the next article, which is breaking BioWare announces major restructuring after Dragon Age something disaster.
Yeah, this is one
JT.
where I did not I shorten the URLs for most of these when I give you the attribution, but I don't for Smash JT because I definitely want you to follow him on YouTube, subscribe to his platform. He has a web page, and he at least knows how to, title his URLs so they don't go on for 2 pages.
Yeah, it's actually it's the title of the article, so that's good. Yeah,
right.
This is his commentary. So if I'm reading in his, I can't imitate his voice, but let me read. Not to take a victory lap here, but hey, as I reported previously, that was going to happen based on insights from my insider. Electronic Arts has begun officially announcing a significant restructuring at BioWare, the very same flailing and failing BioWare behind the Dragon Age and Mass Effect series. Moving forward, BioWare now plans on focusing entirely on its upcoming Mass Effect game, with many developers being reassigned to other projects throughout all of EA, while others are maybe potentially let go due to redundancy. In a blog post from BioWare General Manager Gary McKay, BioWare tried their best to explain that they are somehow going to be taking this opportunity between full development cycles to reimagine how we work at BioWare. With Dragon Age: The Veilguard now released and officially a flop, the next Mass Effect is now actively in active development under the leadership of some of the veteran developers from the original trilogy, including Mike Gamble, Preston Wadamunick, Derek Watts, and Parrish Lay. However, as predicted, this transition means that that a portion of the studio's workforce is no longer required and layoffs may be happening right now, McKay stated. Given the stage of development, we don't require support from the full studio. We have incredible talent here at BioWare, so we have worked diligently over the past few months to match many of our colleagues with other teams at EA that had open roles that were a strong fit, so they can go ruin those places. I'm sorry, wait, no.
Right. I mean, that actually does seem to be the implication.
EA is a company I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't understand its investors.
I understand it too well.
EA, back in the 6th generation, and yeah, they would make things like they made a licensed game based on Lord of the Rings, so that was all right. And then they would do a lot of racing games. Like they would do Need for Speed.
They had a lot of great sports games. Yeah,
a lot of the sports games too. Like I remember they used to have the series called NBA. Wasn't NBA Jam, it was another one, but it was like that, and it was like NBA Street, that's what it was called. And in the Nintendo, on the version for the GameCube, you could actually play as Mario and Peach and Luigi playing basketball with like pro ball players. It was like a bonus thing in the Nintendo, and there was like almost like an R&B version of the Mario tune in it, but it was interesting, but I don't know. But while he has, of course, not disclosed exact numbers, some employees from BioWare have been placed in new roles in the company. Okay. BioWare's ongoing shift. So the future of Mass Effect and BioWare's single project focus. The next Mass Effect was first announced 4 years ago, and it somehow still remains in early development. That's not a good sign. BioWare has now adopted a strategy of prioritizing one game at a time. Some developers previously worked on Mass Effect were re-signed to help bring Dragon Age to completion and are now returning to the sci-fi RPG franchise, which in hindsight probably wasn't the best idea despite this shift. Concerns continue to loom over BioWare's future. Last week, EA revealed that Dragon Age: The Veilguard underperformed, missing its player engagement targets by nearly 50%. You know what my personal take? He also goes on to say, hold on. My insider is extremely concerned about their own job moving forward and honestly seeing what's happening here, who can blame them? I wonder if this is that same one that told them about the work environment, told Smash AG about the work environment over there. Marie with T and Telly, welcome.
Maria's good people. Get over to her channel. She just released in her shorts section, she released a new video for her new theme song.
It's really cool.
Yep. It's worth checking out.
NBA Live. Yeah, I know that was one of theirs. I'm not sure if that was the one that had Mario in it. But the point was that EA used to make fun games. And my favorite series was the Burnout series, which they bought the developer Criterion. Burnout was a racing game series, but you know what a major focus of the game was? Crashing.
Okay. Oh, you mean the game crashing?
No, crashing cars.
Oh, okay.
What else does one want to do? When you first played your first racing game, you were trying to crash the car.
I suppose, yeah.
And this was a game built around that. Like, during the regular racing game, it had this cool bonus thing where, like, if you did a wipeout while you were... Of course, you're racing through oncoming traffic with other cars. It's like busy streets, right? And
Sure.
If you hit one fat on, you could actually then slow it down and try to make your crash as bad as possible to gain points. Do you understand? And then there was this other mode that was called crash mode. And basically there'd be all these cars like lined up, I guess, waiting for a light, and you'd get to crash into them. And the idea was you were supposed to make the worst accident. It's kind of like, remember that movie The Good Son, when all the cars crash into each other and it's a big disaster? It's like that, the game. All right. And I would try to hit like a tanker, so I could blow the tanker up and blow everything up.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they don't either do a remake of those games or just do a brand new one in the series. And I don't get it. And
you're talking. See, that's interesting. I didn't know that game existed. A lot of people look at games like Grand Theft Auto and whatnot, and it's not geared to that, but there's certainly it
was from that era. Yeah.
The ways that you can get, in quotes, wasted in that game. You know, you get killed and shot and run over and I don't know, whatever. Sometimes those are fun in a funny way. And
like Goat Simulator. It's another one.
Or Goat Simulator, yeah. Netter and I watch a lot of people doing not playthroughs. I don't want to... Gaming videos where they will pick a scenario in one of these games like Grand Theft Auto or whatever and do them and just make all the wrong decisions or all the bad decisions. How many times can I get killed? And it's just, sometimes we'll sit here and laugh so hard at this. It's just fun. They're not trying to win the game. They're not even trying to play the game the way it's intended. It's just fun, you know?
Yeah. Well, fun is kind of the main point of gaming.
Real quick, I want to say not only hello to Mark Malnikoff, but Darkwoods Presents is saying, glory to you and your house, Mark Malnikoff. Now, as Gowron once famously said, if you do not proofread your memes, you bring dishonor to your horse.
Yeah. That. Galron was not a big fan of the re-emerged Kalis. I remember that episode.
Well, it was interesting, right? Because it was the battle between statism and religion, or what do you call it? Modern politics, enlightenment, and religion, and in the very, very typical, common Star Trek kind of way, it walks the tightrope and shows you both sides and lets you choose.
You know
You
what
know?
I thought would have been funny if they had done, like, there's something wrong with the clone. Like, like his brain starts to degrade or something, and he starts saying things that are going way against the Klingon way of life, but because he's Kalis, his followers are believing him, and then there are other people who are calling him the false Kalis, and then, like, the religion splits off, right? They could have done that.
That is interesting. I think only because people like Mark and myself are so into the Klingon specific lore of Star Trek, do we get into some of these little details. Come to find out, when you get to Voyager, there actually is another sect that turned away from Kalish to follow the Kuvama,
Oh, interesting.
another foretold prophet, that these Klingons that they encounter in the Delta Quadrant, searching, when they meet up with Voyager, they believe that Tom Paris and B'Elanna's daughter, Miral,
Huh.
is this Kuvama.
Interesting.
And yes, it's very interesting.
So like a
but
prophetess. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and I've talked about this at conventions when I do my Klingon culture discussions, talking about, there's a line that Jadzia had in Deep Space Nine saying that Klingons have as diverse belief systems as humans do. And, so everyone just assumes that everyone believes in Kalesh and all the mythology and foretold futures of that. And that's not true, because obviously you got Gowron, who would be your equivalent of an atheist or an agnostic, right? Well, then you find out there's this sect following the Kuvama. That's another denomination, if you will, of
interesting.
belief or whatever. So that's one of the things I always liked about Star Trek. It is
reflective.
It
of
always
the real world.
was diverse, but you didn't have to, swap things out in order to do that.
My favorite characters on there were usually the aliens.
Absolutely.
I thought Data and Worf had the best conversations on TNG with each other.
And you got the impression that they really respected each other.
They did.
Because of their differences.
They did.
There'd be times that Worf would look at Data like, are you crazy? But he understood Data, so he didn't, and he was patient with. Actually, that's interesting. I think Worf was more patient with Data than like Riker was.
I think he was too. No, I think he didn't. I don't think Worf ever looked down on him because he was an android.
No.
I don't think he ever made any comments about that.
Interestingly, yeah. I felt like he had a good deal of respect for Data.
Yeah.
There's that one episode where that Klingon captain tries to headbutt Data and almost knocks himself out. And Data's like, I have a tritanium skeleton and this and that. And he goes, you are a warrior. And he goes, well, don't go too far down that road. And Worf is like, he is tough, and that is commendable.
One of my favorite scenes was, I think, in the final season when those alien they were hosting like this new alien race, right? And they would take on caricatures to sort of mess with the people who they were hosting. So the one who was tagging around with Worf kept being very obnoxious around him, like saying, you go get me some food. I don't like this food. And then Dr. Chris like, well, this is a buffet. You're supposed to serve yourself. And then like, I'll be happy to get him some food. And then he says, you're not getting along with him, Data says. And he says,
that was the one with his brother Kern.
Was it?
Wasn't it?
I don't know. This was the one where they were having just visitors. It was like a side thing. And basically this guy kept trying to get a rise out of Worf, and he says he is obnoxious and pertinent. He was like making all these comments about this guy, and then Data says, well, you share those qualities in abundance. And Worf just kind of Data.
And that is so Data, right? Because he doesn't even think, he's just blatant. He just says what's on his mind. I've actually heard commentary. There are some YouTubers that take very I don't want to say different, but they have their perspective because of their life. And there's this one that talks about Star Trek from the point of view of someone who's autistic and says, I totally understand Data because, Data looks at the world the way I do. And I'm like, That's an incredible insight.
That was Temple Grandin. That she said that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You know who I'm
she always
talking about.
identified with. Yeah. There's a wonderful documentary series called First Person by Earl Morris, and the first episode is Temple Grandin. It's all about her, and how she redesigned how we slaughter cattle to make it less terrifying for the cows, actually, because she said she kind of saw as animals see, so she kind of she was able to put herself in their head. But what did I want to say? But what I liked about it is Worf finally gets furious and takes a swing at the guy, and then the guy punches back. It's like, oh, this is excellent. This is what I want. And basically, all he wanted to do was to get into some combat with Worf, and they decided to do some martial arts stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like, look, if that's what you wanted, look, why didn't we just get into it?
Yeah. But it was just funny.
When you by the way, as a side note, when you send me the notes, let's clip this out as a whole separate section. This whole Star Trek conversation.
We should, yes. I'll try to get that to you soon. All right, maybe.
Well, I won't get to it until after I get back from the con.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end of the stream. That you may be out and about this week, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll talk.
But I wanted to bring this up. Billy Idol announces North American tour with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. There was this little video circulating on YouTube, and you see, Billy Idol, and he's picking up a white mocha, and the guy says, "Oh, it's a great day for a white mocha." And he's like, "What did you say?" And he gets all weird, and then finally at the end of the video he says, "You know what? It's a great day to tour again." And then that's
it's a great day to tour again.
Billy Idol announces North American tour with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and I'm thinking, if I can, I do want to see this.
I do like the Blackhearts. I really do like Joan Jett. I love rock and roll. Bad Reputation. Love Hurts. Right.
Yep.
I Hate Myself for Loving You.
There are a lot of hits. Yeah. I forgot that was the main theme song to Freaks and Geeks was Bad Reputation. I remember that.
Was it? It makes sense. Yeah.
Billy Idol is heading back out on the road this year alongside Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. It's a nice day to tour again. We'll take the rock icons to some of North America's most storied arenas and amphitheaters this spring and summer. Beginning at Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater in Phoenix on April 30th. Yeah, you want to do that in April because Phoenix is going to get pretty hot in the summer. The Live Nation producing outing will take Idol and Jett to world-renowned venues such as New York's Madison Square Garden, Los Angeles Kia Forum, Colorado's Red Rocks Amphitheater, and Maryland's Meriwether Post Pavilion. Let's see. Artist pre-sale tickets kick off Wednesday, January 22nd at 9 a.m. local time, followed by local pre-sale starting Thursday, January 23rd at 9 a.m. And general on sale beginning Friday, January 24th at 9 a.m. total. I hope I'm not too late to get myself a couple tickets for that. But Idol announced it's a nice day to tour again with video starring comedian Matt Rife. The clip follows Idol through a variety of scenarios, all of which lead to encounters with Rife, who continually makes reference to Idol songs. There are also cameos from Jett, who plays Idol's therapist, and Idol's longtime guitar player, Steve Stevens. Billy Idol, it's a nice day to tour again. News of Idol's 2025 tour comes out of a new album coming this year via Dark Horse Records. Details about this new LP are reportedly coming soon. The project follows a busy 2024, in which Idol marked the 40th anniversary of Rebel Yell with the deluxe expanded edition, which I will need to pick that up now. Before that, in 2020, Idol released the concert film Billy Idol State Line, documenting the first ever concert at the Hoover Dam on the Nevada-Arizona state line. It offers a reminder of the formidable live show Idol will be taking to the road this year. The movie captures 2 sets from Idol, a full band concert at sunset with special guests, and acoustic duo set on the roof of the powerhouse at the foot of the dam. Okay, so this is the year of Billy Idol, I think, but also Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. So maybe if Hollywood's getting us down, maybe we need to look back to music greats to get us through this. And hopefully
absolutely.
No political talk.
I was just going to say, as long as they don't shoot themselves in the foot and destroy.
I don't think I've ever heard of Joan Jett or Billy Idol running their mouth politically, at least not recently.
Joan Jett has been throughout her career, been incredibly subdued when she absolutely could have taken up causes. She has been very private. Now,
Yeah.
maybe I'm overstating it, but she had for the longest time been very private about her personal preference, shall we say.
Fine.
And eventually she kind of, after being asked over and over and over again, she goes, look, it's obvious, okay? If you've been paying attention, you know, not that it really matters.
Well,
you
that
know?
was her business anyway.
Right.
That's her private life, and but I'm sure she still rocks out as good as anybody else. And
But what an answer, right? It doesn't matter. And if you're paying attention, you'd know, but who cares? And it's like, good on you, girl, you know?
But yeah, so I don't know. This sounds pretty cool, and he's got a new album coming out, and I guess there's this documentary thing too I didn't know about. So I got to look for all this stuff.
Yeah,
So I need to
that
just.
sounds
I
interesting.
want to be able to chill out, maybe in a couple of weeks, just because.
Do you have any idea
very
what
busy.
the picture was taken? Because that's just beautiful and scary.
I don't know, but it's a nice picture. Look at that, huh?
Right?
Oh, and Mark Malco says that was that same scenario got Worf into trouble on
Rules
DS9.
of engagement. Yeah, see, that's the problem. I've mentioned this before. I know that there's a lot of Deep Space Nine I haven't seen because of WGN, living in the Chicago area. But I do have it all on DVD. I'm going to have to revisit it.
Or you could just subscribe to Paramount Plus and subscribe.
I know, no. I want to actually see it all. So I'm going to actually. I don't want to start watching it and go, oh, where did it go? You know?
Yeah. What if it disappeared and then they recommended a different series to you? Yeah. Which is that a segue over to our next article? Please, no, it is not. Darn it.
Segue.
Okay, it's not a segue.
Well,
it's
sort of, because this does come down on the whole own physical media, thing.
This is a little scary, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not reading this article the way I should be. The big picture: Sony, LG, Panasonic, retailers in general have gradually been withdrawing from the Blu-ray business for years as consumers increasingly favor streaming and other forms of digital distribution. However, some market indicators suggest that demand for physical media hasn't completely evaporated, with many consumers harboring concerns over quality and ownership. Sony recently announced a plan to end Blu-ray media production in February, delivering yet another heavy blow to the future of physical discs. The company will also cease manufacturing recording mini discs, MD data, mini DV cassettes. The news follows Sony's decision last year to stop producing writable 24 gigabyte Blu-ray recordable discs. I'm not going to read all those numbers for consumers. In this week's brief announcement, Sony confirmed that Blu-ray media production will halt, though the exact formats affected were not specified. Well, I don't know what that means. Manufacturers have been steadily exiting the Blu-ray market for years as physical media sales continue to decline in favor of digital distribution. Panasonic, for example, stopped producing Blu-rays in 2023, citing weakening demand amid the growing popularity of streaming. Similarly, Best Buy discontinued sales of Blu-rays, Ultra HD Blu-rays, and DVDs later this year. I feel like we're moving backwards.
I agree with you. Very much so.
In the olden days, you, at least with movies, you didn't necessarily have the choice of really owning one. Like maybe you knew a kid in town that had one of those 8mm projectors, and they would have like King Kong on it or something. Later on, you finally got VHS, but even that wasn't perfect because they would snag and they wouldn't last forever. And then finally, we got DVD, which if you took care of them, you could watch them hundreds of times. And then Blu-ray was the HD format of that. And now I feel like with streaming, now everything is going to be on TV again.
And I have constantly been saying to people, not only own physical media, but if the physical media doesn't exist, make your own. If you can find something that, has not been commercially released that you want to preserve, you download it, you save it, and you write it to a DVD or, if necessary, a Blu-ray. For example, I have a very high quality version of Song of the South, and it has to be put on Blu-ray because it's, such a big file. It's the only Blu-ray I've had to write, but that's why I have the ability to write Blu-rays and have that the blank physical media to write to. If they stop making it, I'm kind of out of luck there, right?
Disney will never release that movie on DVD. Not available.
Which is exactly why I'm preserving it myself.
There was a time they could have done it. It would have been during the Disney, when they were doing the Walt Disney Treasures line. These are like limited edition collections of like, Mickey Mouse Club episodes or like old shorts. And they weren't produced in high numbers. They were like limited edition gift things you would buy. They come in these tins too. Another thing they could have done, they could have had Criterion release it as well. Because they could have all the commentary about, if you want to have an apologist come out before the movie, which sometimes happens. I know Leonard Maltin would typically apologize for the caricatures in some of those Donald Duck cartoons, but he says in wartime you often caricature the enemy, like the Japanese or the Germans.
I think maybe what I need to do is I'm going to get in touch with the folks over at WDW Pro. They did a great interview with the daughter of the guy that did the voice of
Brer Rabbit.
I can't remember if it was the rabbit or the bear.
Okay.
I can't remember, but he was very involved with the Song of the South, kind of preservation and support of it when it was in the parks and whatnot. And they would talk about how much it meant to Black history and how valuable it was to Black history, all elements of it. And just that preservation of that folklore that started in Africa and built from former slaves here in the States. That history, that is Black history. What's the point in having a Black History Month if you don't care about the history and preserving it? It's very clear that these Wokosos that are trying to shut down, Song of the South and the ride related to it and everything, they don't care about actual preservation and cultural heritage. They just care about their brand of it. Black history brought to you by Disney, So I'm going to have to reach out to them and see if they wouldn't be interested in taking that and releasing it in physical media. That might not be a bad idea for them. Anyway, that's a tangent, but physical media, folks, own it. It's worth it.
Own physical media.
And it looks like get your blank Blu-rays to save your own physical media before it's gone.
Make sure you have a Blu-ray player and maybe a spare Blu-ray player too, just in case.
Right.
Of course, we thought vinyl was done, and then vinyl came back. But
that is true.
It's kind of creepy. Sony's also acknowledged that the Blu-ray storage market never lived up to expectations. When the company announced the end of BDR production last year, LG followed suit by exiting the Blu-ray player market a few months later. Can I just not just bow out for the next 5 years until everybody gets everything figured out?
I know, right?
Like with gaming, the first half of this decade has just been junk, and it's not getting any better. I thought maybe at this point there'd be course correction. Nothing's exciting. It's just
actually
it's all about what's being taken away, not about what's being given.
Clue Channel brings up a great point. Own physical media, or you'll be stuck with Trumpless Home Alone 2.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
We're going to talk about. In fact, I don't. Yeah, we're going to be.
But I'll tell you this.
There's another movie that has stuff getting cut out of it that's getting a 4K release.
I have said this about everything. You all think that it's a good idea to cut out the bad guy from whatever it is that, whatever film, whatever. Just keep in mind that if you keep doing that, every generation might find something else objectionable about that movie, to the point that Home Alone 2 might be the opening and closing credits, and that's it. Yeah. And even that will be redacted.
Yep. Own physical media. It's just ridiculous, man. I don't know when this became acceptable, the censoring movies and expecting you to buy them on home video.
And Lilo should be able to hide in the washing machine if she wants to. Not in
Disney's
a pizza box.
Disney has always been the worst, even before current Disney, even back during the Eisner era. They were cutting stuff out. They cut out Pecos Bill's cigar. I remember that was a thing in one of those old shorts. I remember being angry about that. I didn't buy the DVD when it came out because I'm like, I'm not going to buy this. You censored it. I prefer old school. Oh, that's a different thing. Okay. All right. Okay. Moving on to.
I do want to preface this one a little bit. This is a little bit of an opinion piece.
Yeah.
But I think it's still worth talking about. And we'll get into it.
Is this basically a shill piece trying to defend it or realizing something's gone wrong but still trying to defend it?
I think it's you could call it a shill piece, but I think it's highlighting the wrong thing. Again, Hollywood getting the wrong message.
So, warning, spoilers for Star Trek Section 31. Star Trek Section 31 is the first Star Trek streaming movie, and given its critical and audience reception, it could be the last. Directed by Olatunde Osunsanmi.
Osun going to be looking for another job if this is what this director puts out.
And written by Craig Sweeney, Star Trek Section 31 is Academy Award winner Michelle Yeoh's comeback as Emperor Philippa Georgiou. Yeoh's former Star Trek Discovery anti-heroine teams up with a new team of Section 31 operatives to stop a plot to destroy the Federation of Planets. I love how she's an anti-heroine. She was a villain. They don't like using that word.
She absolutely was a villain. She's not an anti-hero. She's a villain.
She's supposed to be the opposite of her regular universe self. That was the
everybody
point.
Who has reviewed this has pointed this out too. Even in this film, she's portrayed as a psychopath. She eats eyeballs. She's a murderer. She's literally a psychopath. I am not using that as a pejorative or as a that is an actual legitimate description of her character.
Okay, Section 31 was originally planned as a TV series spin-off of Star Trek Discovery. Michelle Yeoh had a recurring role in Star Trek Discovery, and Emperor Georgiou was written out of the show in Star Trek Discovery Season 3 to bridge into Section 31. Several factors, including the pandemic and Yeoh's Best Actress Oscar win for Everything Everywhere All at Once, made Paramount Plus pivot, turning Section 131 into a made-for-streaming movie because they couldn't afford her salary on a full series. Is that what that was about?
Yeah,
I always thought she was too.
Speculated.
I thought she was too high cast for this. I mean, for this, because she wasn't an unknown, and she was like Hong Kong royalty.
The fact was, though,
cinema.
that she signed on to STD before she did that film, so it was, she's always been known.
I've always felt she never had a career pause. You would always see her in things, even if it wasn't like the headline.
And she was on an upward track, if not maybe the fastest track. But she shot up after Everywhere All at Once. I always mess up that
she was title. In Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I mean, it's just...
Yes. So she was already mired into this and probably had contractual agreements she had to uphold. And now I think she's probably happy to walk away from this because she's done with it, There
were hopes Star Trek Section 31 would launch new Star Trek on Paramount Plus movie franchise, but Section 31's woeful performance among critics and fans may have dashed them. Section 31 was not well received by critics and audience. Star Trek Section 31 has 23% rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes, although it has ticked up from the 18% low it garnered earlier in its premiere weekend. I guess the bots went out. I'm sorry. I'm being Section 31's Rotten Tomatoes scores now ties the lowest Star Trek movie rotten score belonging to Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. Reviews overall were not kind to Michelle Yeoh's Star Trek streaming movie. Star Trek Section 31 goes where no Star Trek has gone before, with a fun sci-fi spy adventure led by Michelle Yeoh's Emperor Philippa Georgiou. Perhaps even more damning is Star Trek Section 31's 17% popcorn meter audience score, which is abysmally low and reflects the general online consensus of the film, especially among hardcore Star Trek fans. There are even, I don't think any Are there Star Trek fans left? I guess there are. Some of you are in this stream, but I don't think they're watching this movie. While Section 31 does have fans who appreciate its attempt to bring Mission Impossible meets Guardian of the Galaxy vibe to Star Trek universe, the overall consensus pans the first Star Trek stream movie. Now a sequel is unlikely. Red Letter Media did a review of it. They tore it apart. They broke the Star Trek plate. They had one of those collectible Star Trek plates.
Yeah.
They said if Star Trek can still be saved, the plate stays, right? It stays intact.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's done. We can't, no. Just break the plate. They think it's unlikely, and they're saying it's not impossible because they're big Star Trek fans, and they're saying it's done. It's just as beloved as Michelle. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, they're going to say it's hard to see how Star Trek Legacy can happen now. As beloved Michelle Yeoh, Star Trek Section 31 never saw a new Star Trek product. Hopeful for by other Trekker faithful, the number one desire for Star Trek fans is Star Trek Legacy, the proposed continuation of Star Trek Picard Season 3 about USS Enterprise G, led by Captain 7 of 9. Paramount Plus has not attempted to deliver on fans' hopes for Star Trek Legacy, a TV series, and Star Trek Section 31 could now make Star Trek Legacy even less likely. See, you guys didn't support this, so now you're not going to get the show you wanted. Right?
Yeah, right.
They'll just dangle that in front of you.
But my whole point is that if you do support stuff like this, you'll never get, your Trek either. So don't. Darth Plato, welcome, says, but did it make money? Which, of course, is a joke because we know a streaming show never makes money. It can't.
They were bringing up that question on Red Letter Media. Do these Star Trek shows make any money? They have to be operating at a loss. They don't logically understand how any of this stuff makes money. For starters, it's been stuck on streaming. It would be interesting to see, because I'll give Paramount credit for one thing. They do release their series on DVD in a timely manner.
True.
They don't sit on them like Netflix does and other things. Like their streaming series do come to DVD because I've seen them in the library. So you can go out and buy them. So I wonder how they do in sales. I don't know.
I do want to speak to this. He says these people only care about raking in the dough, not making Star Trek. I would argue that they don't even care about that. Because again, if you're making content for streaming, you make no profit off of it. This is a money-losing perspective every single time. You spend more millions of dollars making a show like this than you will receive from new subscribers to your streaming service. There is no value in this. Their purpose is not making money. Their purpose is postmodern, neo-Marxist deconstructionism of your favorite franchises. They want you to stop enjoying the things you enjoyed because it's bad think, it's wrong think. That's what they really care about. They don't care about the money. As far as the individual people making the show is concerned, they're making their money up front in their contract. They don't care if the show does well or not. And when they lose their job because the show isn't making money, they will go somewhere else and say, look, I carry the banner of the hammer and sickle. Let me destroy something over here too.
Destroy the past, kill it if you have to, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. They literally said it out loud for you. Yes, I understand that's Disney, Lucasfilm, and not Paramount, but it's the same kind of people doing the same kind of thing.
In this show, though, I saw clips from it, and apparently there's some lounge singer that's one of those half black, half white aliens from that famous episode of the original series. Yes. And this, I think, is taking place after that era, which doesn't make any sense because what was the whole point of that episode? You have these two last members. They
were the last two, and
they hated each other because one was white on the left side and black on the right side, and one was black on the left side and white on the right side. That's why they hated each other. It was supposed to be a parable for.
There was another thing that I don't think anyone's stuff. If you go back and watch "Let This Be Your Last Battlefield," Frank Goshen. And I'm sorry, I don't know the other actor's name.
Yes, I remember that, yeah.
black on one side, white on the other, and what was important is that they were reversed.
Yeah.
Right. That's what made them racially different in their minds. But they didn't color their hair. That was their natural hair color. So by canon, the Chiron have, the same kind of hair that we have, a single tone hair color.
Right.
This bloke in section 31 had black and white hair just like his skin color.
Well, I thought it was a woman, or maybe I'm mistaken. Was
I
it a
don't
man?
know. Who knows these days? They look
Okay.
alike these days.
But I'm saying maybe the women of that race, the hair doesn't. That splits off with the thing. And maybe
No,
there was a
and
war.
if you made
And
an
there was a war
argument
between the sexes over that. That's why we didn't see any women.
If you could make an argument that said, she colored her hair that way because, it was that's legitimate, but, you kind of have to mention that in dialogue for that lore to
yes, but according to the time period that the show is supposed to take place in, I think it's after. Is it after that part in the original series? So that race wouldn't exist anymore because that was the whole point of that
This is
episode.
exactly my point. This is what Clue brings up the perfect point. He says nobody watches just $16.95 a month worth of content. Somebody's getting screwed. First, I had no idea it was $16.95 a month. That's ridiculous, right?
Hey, these shows are expensive to produce.
For that much, you could go out and buy a season of the show.
Yeah, you could.
Maybe not, but
Black Friday sale, you can get it for that much.
Yeah. Or when they mark it down because no one's buying it. But the other thing I was going to say is that, again, those people already paid their $16.95, whether this show was on it or not. So unless you have enough people coming in spending $16.95 a month above and beyond who was subscribing that month to pay your millions of dollars to make the show, you lose money on that series. That's my point. It's simple mathematics.
I have a theory of how that race survived now.
How?
Maybe they took the DNA from the corpses and they used that gene splicer thing they have on Strange New Worlds, and other humans or other races volunteered to restore this alien race by turning into them with that gene therapy thing that they had.
You don't have to get that far into it. You could just simply say that we don't know that much about the Chiron. Perhaps they had a colony elsewhere. So at least a small segment of their race survived. However, for that lore to be worthwhile, you got to mention it in at least one sentence of dialogue. Secondly, by doing so, you completely wipe out the impact of that episode.
Yes.
That episode was incredibly impactful, and you pretty much destroy it. And that's the exact opposite of what you want to do if you're trying to build a narrative, build a franchise. That's why I say, again, they're not trying to build, they're trying to destroy.
It was basically saying that at least in the future, the human race has moved past this point where we're trying to destroy each other based on,
right.
ethnic and racial differences. We're
past and this would have been a great opportunity to say, just like, because we're on the cusp of colonizing other planets ourselves. Mm-hmm. And what is the argument for why? You don't want all your eggs in one basket. If something happens to Earth, you want there to be still a human race somewhere. Well, here would be your example of that, in allegory form.
All right. But I guess this was a bomb. They'll probably still.
We all knew it was going to be. We just needed to see it happen so that we could say, "See, we told you so."
Do you think Kurtzman's going to get another contract?
Well, we talked about,
They have new. Do you think Kurtzman is going to get another renewal of contract?
Yeah, we talked about that, and I said that.
Oh, you already mentioned that. I'm sorry.
I would say that. In a logical, reasonable world, absolutely not. But this is not a logical, reasonable world. We've talked about that with Kurtzman before. We've talked about it with Kathleen Kennedy before. And again, it comes down to who is in charge of writing that contract and what is their purpose. If it's just up to Paramount alone, oh, sure, they'll just keep renewing them. They don't care. If Skydance is in control of that and they actually care about rebuilding the brand of Star Trek, absolutely not. Until we see which side of the tennis court that comes down on, can't answer that question.
Yeah. Moving on.
Worse than a bomb, it's a black hole. Thank you, Darth Plato. True.
This doesn't look like a black hole. This looks like a bright beam of sunshine.
I mean, it is Reese Witherspoon. It is Legally Blonde. So that in and of itself, I'll grant you, you know.
Reese Witherspoon gives update on Legally Blonde series. The actress.
When I heard this,
movie series.
I took off my glasses. I kind of rubbed the bridge of my nose, and I'm like, seriously? But then I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't know. Could be good. We'll see. I like the Legally Blonde movies. We have them all. Was there more than two? Was there a third Legally Blonde?
No.
No, it's like the two. Legally Blonde 2. Because the first one, she got into Harvard, like it was hard.
Like it was
and
hard?
The second one, she was on Capitol Hill.
That's right. She goes to Washington.
Interesting.
Yep, you're right. Legally Blonde 2. We have them both on our on the shelf right behind Netter.
Look at that. Okay. All right. Well,
now I'm going to have to get her the series when it comes out.
Oh,
if they don't release it, I'll have to make her DVDs.
I don't think we can see it because of the slides, but you can show it at the end. Hold on. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. What?
All right. No. Were you trying to show them off?
Oh, no. I was just getting up to look and see that I had them.
Oh, I see.
I'm not going on camera right now.
I got you.
I'm wearing my glasses.
The actress and producer tells people about the upcoming prequel show Elle while promoting her new rom-com You're Cordially Invited. Reese Witherspoon's Legally Blonde series Elle is beginning to come together. I'm really excited. We start in March. Witherspoon 48 tells people of the prequel series, which follows future lawyer Elle Woods. The hero is Elle or Ellie?
Elle.
Elle Woods, the hero of the 2001 hit comedy and its 2003 sequel, as she navigates high school. I'm really excited because we're going through the casting process right now. We're picking who's going to play the young me, says Witherspoon. It's kind of a trip. Does she have a daughter old enough to play that role? Probably not. Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay, so this is a prequel series. So it's so exciting to watch these young girls that are so filled with enthusiasm, excitement, and completely. There's so many good ones. That's the hard thing because there's so many good people to choose from, she adds. Though Witherspoon was already established actress by the time she headlined Legally Blonde, the comedy, which co-starred Selma Blair, Luke Wilson, Victor Garber, Jennifer Coolidge, and Raquel Welch, cemented her status as a leading star. The fish out of water story follows bubbly, pink-clad sorority sister Woods, played by Witherspoon, decides to enroll at Harvard Law School in order to win back Warner, played by Matthew Davis, the boyfriend who dumped her because he didn't deem her serious enough. Mm-hmm. At the Ivy League institution, she's shunned and underestimated at every turn. But ultimately shows doubters she's just as smart, if not smarter, than everyone else. The movie made more than $140 million at the box office. It was nominated for 2 Golden Globes: Best Picture, Musical, and Comedy, and Best Actress in a Musical Comedy for Witherspoon. Elle, which will stream on Prime Video, was announced last May. Fans will get to know how Elle Woods navigated her world as a teenager with her distinct personality and ingenuity in ways that only our beloved Elle could do. Witherspoon, who was also an executive producer, said in a statement at the time during the interview with People alongside Will Ferrell, her co-star in the new Prime Video comedy You're Cordially Invited. Witherspoon offers the Saturday Night Live alum a supporting role in the series, Elle's faithful Chihuahua Bruiser. The Chihuahua has passed, she says, of Mooney the dog that played Bruiser, so I need a new support animal.
Aw, that's sweet. Ordinarily, I'd roll my eyes at support animal, but that's sweet the way she puts it. Clue, yes, I was just gonna. She was good in Pleasant, but Pleasantville is a great movie that I definitely am gonna have to do a watch party of in the near future. I love that movie.
Sounds like a Nick series from the 90s. Kids and girls will love it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's gonna have to take place in the 90s.
They could go with it, and if it does, I'd be fine with that. The more I'm hearing about it, the more I think it could be pretty good. And if it's on, what did you say? It was on Prime? Well, we're going to have access to it too, so maybe
you'll be able to watch it.
I will be able to watch
all sorts of things on Prime.
And like I said, if I have to, make my own physical copy of it.
Actually, I will say this. I think Prime is another company that releases their stuff on DVD.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Yeah. That's actually a great point, Darth Plato. Not all of this is going to be for everybody, but as long as it's got its niche and it's not destroying something, right? This apparently is just building on a previous franchise. I'm surprised it became a franchise, but people like Netter,
It became a musical.
did it really? I didn't realize.
You didn't know this? It was a Broadway musical. Yes.
They make a musical out of everything these days,
Apparently
I guess.
it was well received. I think they had an MTV once, and I recorded it for my dad because he was big on musicals. So
Okay, so Clue says the DVDs are $100 on Prime. Is that $100 for the series?
that doesn't make any sense. Is it not available on DVD anymore?
Or are the movies $100 because it's out of print or something like that? And see, Age of Boomer has taught me, if you go to look for a DVD and it's like through the roof because it's out of print, look for it on Blu-ray. It's probably available, like lots cheaper.
I'm going to be honest though, Amazon is not always the best site. When you look for something, you get like the German version first.
Well, and the other option,
no, I just want the American DVD. Why am I seeing all this stuff from other countries? Why it's not going to play on my player, please?
That is another option, though. Sometimes it is worthwhile to get the British version rather than the American version because it might be cheaper. And the other thing too is look on eBay. A secondhand DVD is not necessarily a bad way to get it really cheap.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Legally Blonde triple feature on Amazon. So you get us a triple feature, which has 3 comedies: Legally Blonde 2, Legally Blondes. What is Legally Blondes?
Yes, I thought there was a third one, and I don't think we ever got it because I don't think that Reese Witherspoon.
But I don't think that Reese Witherspoon not in this one. Is it like her nieces or something? Is this what it's going to be? And you get that on Blu-ray too.
Yeah, I have seen this though. It stars twins, Rebecca and Camilla Rosso.
Okay, so it was like a spin-off. All right.
That one is free on Tubi. I'll pull that up for Netter and she can tell me if she wants me to get the DVD of that.
All right. But that's it for Geeky Geezers this week.
And that's pretty much it for me this week too. Yeah. So here's the thing, guys. You guys have probably heard me mentioning this throughout the week. This was a last minute, throw together plans. Netter and I are going to be driving down to Florida for MegaCon. So those of you that are in the area that are planning to go on MegaCon, please look for us. We'd love to see you there.
Yeah, we're there for the entire duration of MegaCon. So
maybe
Thursday
leaving
through
a little
Sunday.
early Sunday. Huh? We're maybe leaving early Sunday though.
Maybe.
Okay.
Because it's almost a 2-day drive for us. It's definitely.
So you're going to park by a McDonald's for the next week's Geeky Geezers for like 2 hours and then get back on the road, right? I'm joking.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm joking. No, I might do a short sync. I think Deleted Scenes agreed that he might want to pop in for this, but I'll check with him. We might do like a shorter stream, just do a couple of stories, but maybe we'll have some updates on what Troy was doing this week. Are you going to be on for Tuesday for Sparkwood and 21?
No, actually, there won't be a Sparkwood in 21 this week. I already talked to Deleted Scenes. I was actually kind of trying desperately to come up with something that I could shoot his way that he could do, but it probably wouldn't have come out. Right. So there won't be a live from Sparkwood in 21. There can't be a Blake 7 this week because I'm literally going to be driving on the road at that time.
You can stream and drive. It's okay. I'm kidding.
Honestly, you laugh, but I did think, is there a way I could do
Don't do it.
And there isn't really, because I need the setup in order to play the movie or the feature, and I can't do that. So, I'm also going to beg off of Monday Night at the Movies, just because even though I'm still in town and I have a lot to get ready for the trip, so probably not a great idea. Yeah, and there's no reserved seats tonight, so I won't be forwarding you guys anywhere.
Okay.
Um,
I will be on reserved seats in 2 weeks, though, if I'm remembering the date. I got to finalize.
okay, looking forward to that.
I said I
then.
would be on President's Day weekend because I don't think I go to work the next day. So
Now, once Netter and I get to MegaCon, when we find out what the situation is as far as internet access and stuff like that, we may try to stream from there. And in so doing, Netter may have a Thursday Things with very special guests in person, though off camera.
Off camera. But I said I am going to try to come up there and visit you on Thursday evening. So regardless, I should
picture of him, his avatar.
It's funny, it's funny you say that because a master of the TDS and his wife, the Writing Raven, went to some convention, and all of their pictures on social media were them at the convention holding pictures of their icons in front of their faces. It was brilliant. I thought it was great. It was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so yeah.
Thank you, deleted scenes. It'll be a shorter stream, kind of like we did the Geek Gulag. We'll probably still call it Geeky Geezers. But I have a couple stories this week I didn't get to, so they're going to be on next week's docket.
Troy Stunt host. I like that.
Thank you, deleted
and so I'm going to throw this out. Same thing on Friday. If Netter is able to stream on Thursday, whatever setup she's got, I may be able to pull off for Last Call on Friday,
let me know.
Which would be like live from MegaCon or whatever. In which case, I'll see if I can't pull in one of the folks that's there as a guest or whatever.
Cool. Sounds good.
But Saturday night over on Big Al's channel, again, Netter won't be available, but I think he's got a stunt co-host in deleted scenes for that as well. And deleted, if you remember what the movie is for Saturday, let everybody know, but I'm kind of forgetting because I'm a goof. But anyway. But cool. And then as he just told you, next Sunday, deleted and Age of Boomer, really right back on this channel and because I'll set the stream up for you, Boomer, and you guys just go ahead and do it.
Sounds good.
As per usual, and who knows? Maybe by that point have a clip that I can send to you to share with everybody.
That'd be cool.
We'll see.
It will be an interesting experience, though. But yeah,
and we'll probably be doing some serious drinking when I get to the con for sure. Pit Sniper. That's the plan anyway. We'll see.
Sounds like a plan. All right. As long as I'm sure you'll be safe.
I will absolutely be safe.
Get yourself a blue Hawaiian.
Oh,
I don't know.
Is that because I
no, it's not a Florida drink. It's a Hawaiian drink. I don't know what
I was going to say. Yeah, I figured that was more of an East Coast or a West Coast
before. It's tropical anyway. Damnation Alley, George Peppard. That sounds interesting.
Ooh, good. I love George Peppard.
There are all plenty of old movies you've missed on if Hollywood's ever getting you down. All right.
Which is exactly why we do these the film rewatches.
Yeah. But that'll be it for tonight, and I hope y'all have a good week, and stay healthy.
Yep.
So yeah. All right.
Some guys. Well, that means I also have to change the. Are we still in it? Okay, we're still in it so that you can hear us.
Companion this weekend. Good start. Interesting ideas. Falls apart at the end. I like the lead actress in it though, but oh well.
Interesting.
All right.
Rock on, y'all. Keep the shiny side up. Okay, what is that a reference to? The only thing I know of is aluminum foil.
I don't know.
Which I don't think is what you're referring to. So.
We used to put aluminum foil in microwaves and see what would happen. I'm kidding.
Well, there's videos.
Microwaves did
on
not
YouTube.
make it on the 10 things Gen X had to deal with. I thought about it, but I decided not. Okay. And deleted scenes like Companion. I'll catch it on streaming when it comes on streaming.
Microwaves were a great invention. I think we tried to use them for way too much in the 80s and 90s. But I think they found their niche in the kitchen. As I always say, for everything, not just kitchen use or whatever, right tool for the right job.
I miss the Pillsbury microwave frozen pizza. And I know probably as an Italian, you'd consider that offensive. That's not pizza.
Are those the ones that were like personal pizzas and they had a little
pizzas
dish that kind of the cardboard had a backing on it?
It would turn into that.
I like those too. Look, pizza. Look, you are never going to hear me poo-poo any pizza, okay? Because pizza is like sex. Even when it's not good, it's still pretty good.
When I was older, though, I started making them in the oven. But actually, no, not with the Pillsbury. I think Pillsbury stopped making them, but I would put like Celeste pizzas in the oven. Celeste went downhill. Oh, man.
There are some of those the stuffed the rising crust pizzas that they make, like
DiGiorno.
DiGiorno makes a good one. There's a couple of off brands that are, I think, as good.
All right.
DiGiorno
makes one type that I like, but yeah.
Okay. Let's see if anybody here knows this. You used to go to lunch counters and stuff like that, and they would have these microwave pizzas.
Yes.
They were frozen, right?
Yes.
And they were a little bit larger than you could put your fingers around if you make an O out of them. And it was kind of a bready dough smeared with, the red gravy.
Right.
A little bit of that really dry mozzarella and 2 pieces of pepperoni.
Interesting.
They heated it in the microwave, and it was usually kind of soft.
Yeah.
And you tasted more of the sauce than anything else.
Yes.
Honestly, I love those things. I wouldn't say they were good pizzas, but my grandmother used to make them at the marina, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I want pizza." She's like, "This isn't pizza." And I'm like, "You know what I mean? Those frozen pizza things." Okay, I'll make you one.
Table that thought. I think frozen pizza is going to be on a stream at some point in the future. We will do a dissection of frozen pizza from
in remembrance, but for good old days.
Perhaps, yes.
I don't think we can make a whole last
Friday
call
stream. I think we could.
Well, maybe.
Or maybe we could be on a section of drunk food. Food you eat when you're drunk. No, never mind.
I love this one. I used to love my waterbed. Then I loved not having a waterbed. Yeah, that got old really, really damn fast. You're absolutely right about that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. You guys. This has been fun. I needed this. I really did. Thanks so much.
Get some rest, Troy and Netter, okay?
I'm going to play the closing credits, and this time I mean to play the closing credits because this is the end, and this is where you play the closing credits, right?
Beautiful friend. This is the end. Okay.
Okay. See you. Take care. Bye-bye.